Now at 6, a community in Yamhill County is shaken after a sheriff's deputy shot and killed a stabbing suspect.
The guy kept moving, so the officer shot him like 3 times.
We'll break down what led up to that shooting.
And hundreds of employees will soon be laid off from one of Oregon's biggest employers. We'll tell you about the changes coming up at Intel.
Also this hour, it's been another good year for the Oregon Zoo's California Condor breeding program. 11 healthy chicks hatched in the past few months. We're going to have more on the zoo's effort to help this species that at one point was down to just a few birds in the entire world. The 6 o'clock hour of sunrise starts right now.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us on your Wednesday. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. What do you say? Should we bring Chris McGinnis and Rod Hill into the mix?
Come on in, boys.
There they are. Weather and traffic right here at the top of the hour. Rod, we start with your forecast.
Hey, good morning. Beautiful start to our day here in Portland, Salem, Vancouver. We're clear. We are cloudy at the coast, and we're seeing increasing clouds now coming up through Cowlitz and down into northern Clark County. This is up in Woodland, Lewis River Golf Course, right near the border of Cowlitz and Clark County. You can see they have clouded over there, and we do believe that in the coming couple of hours or by 8 o'clock, Portland will see cloudiness start to come in. So if you're a sun lover, enjoy this time of our day. This is probably going to be the brightest it will turn out to be. We're at 61 degrees, the view from downtown Portland. There are the mostly cloudy conditions, 70 at noon, and the overcast afternoon. And of course, the big story today, instead of being right about 90, only 75. So there's got to be an excuse not to get work done outside. I almost said you should be working outside, but I'm going to scratch that statement. Find an excuse, Chris.
You should be playing outside in cloudy weather. Feel good. All right, I-5 through Wilsonville, northbound, zipping right along. We'll switch gears. Door number 4 takes us up to Clark County. It's bright and sunny for now, and the drive is zipping right along there as well. We're operating at a speed limit commute on the freeways for now, and I do want to let you know about this. Overnight road work last night has wrapped up, but they'll be back at it again. Road crews will have the lower deck of the Fremont Bridge closed, so just be prepared for that if you're on the roads late tonight overnight. But outside of that, guys, we are off to a fine start on this Tuesday morning.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Your time is 6:02, and one of Oregon's largest employers is planning to lay off hundreds of workers.
It's all part of a restructuring plan at Intel. Those cuts are set to begin next week. We have Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz live for us at the Intel campus in Aloha. So, Thomas, what else do we know about these layoffs?
Well, Drew, in China, around 530 people right here behind us at the Aloha campus will be laid off next week. Many of those people are engineers and researchers. In a statement, Intel says, quote, "We are taking steps to become a leaner, more efficient company. Removing organizational complexity and empowering our engineers will enable us to better serve the needs of our customers." This is just the latest hit for Intel, which is Oregon's largest private employer. Last year, the Oregonian says the company slashed 3,000 jobs. Tech experts say Intel has fallen behind other companies in the rush to enhance semiconductors and improve artificial intelligence. And Oregon lawmakers worry things like this will have big ripple effects.
When someone loses their job at Intel, they can't just bounce to another job necessarily and be employed. That's the concern, is that it will be difficult, and this just affects everyday lives.
Though others have differing opinions, in the legislative session that just ended, Oregon Republican lawmakers consistently brought up that Oregon is not business friendly enough. Now, business leaders like Jordan Schnitzer are chiming in too.
The state's fallen into a malaise, an attitude of being anti-business. Now, that's not the reason I think Intel is cutting back right now. But in their decision as to where they would expand again, I'm not sure Oregon would be top of the list.
And of course, this has all led to a lot of concern from business leaders, lawmakers, and of course, those Intel employees as they all watch the company closely. Drew, China.
All right, Thomas Schultz with the latest on the Intel cuts. We also have more job cuts to cover in this next story. Portland General Electric confirms that it's laid off 53 full-time employees. In a statement, a PG spokesperson said the layoffs are part of the company's, quote, ongoing work to keep bills as low as possible. The statement also pointed to cost pressures from increased electricity demand, while PGE is also transitioning to cleaner energy.
And we're also hearing from one of the 500 ODOT employees being laid off in a few weeks. ODOT is facing the largest single layoff in Oregon state government history after lawmakers failed to come up with a major funding plan this past session. Workers got notices on Monday saying that they will lose their jobs at the end of the month. And up to 200 more people could be laid off early next year. We spoke with a woman losing her part-time job along with much of the crew in Wheeler County.
I'm okay. I'm going to be fine, and I know the guys will be fine. It's just, it's a shock. It's one big shock.
Governor Tina Kotek is calling the cuts, which could impact everything from road maintenance to snow removal, an emergency, but so far has not called a special session.
State officials say bias crime reports have gone down in Oregon, but the latest research on the issue isn't all positive. So here's a breakdown for you. Year to year, bias crime reports to the state hotline dropped 7% in 2024. That's the first drop since the hotline started in 2020. Reports from African American, Hispanic, Pacific Islander, and Native American people were down 16%, and reports from gender nonconforming people were down 34%. But there is one area where the numbers went up. The people who take these bias crime reports have gotten many more aggressive and abusive callers.
People that aren't really calling the line for any specific purpose other than to harass individuals that are trying to provide a service to Oregonians. We've seen that dramatically increase, and if I remember correctly, it's around 165%.
That was Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield, who also pointed out that the decrease in bias crime calls doesn't necessarily mean that fewer crimes are happening. It could just be that fewer people are filing reports. You can report a bias crime by calling that number on your screen. That's the state hotline, 844-924-BIAS. Anyone who calls the hotline, by the way, also has the option to get help with reporting the crime to law enforcement.
The Oregon Zoo says it had a successful condor season this year. 11 healthy chicks have hatched, and the chicks will stay with their parents for at least 8 months before moving to pre-release pens for about a year. California condors almost went extinct in the late 80s with only 22 left in the entire world. Wild. But now efforts like the one at the Oregon Zoo have restored their population to 560 birds.
I mean, world, wild, interchangeable there, because
Right.
that's it. That's all that was left, Rod, at one point, 22. I remember a few years ago, the director at the Oregon Zoo told me that this really does represent probably the greatest conservation story for wildlife in the history of the Species Protection Act. And I think they rounded up those 22 birds that were left. Like, they realized, like, these are going away.
Yeah.
So they actually went out and got the only birds that were left in the world and brought them into captivity in an effort to start making those numbers grow. And it's worked. They're up to over 500 now.
And they're releasing them. You probably already said this, but they are releasing them back into the wild as part of this program. As far as you know, yeah. So that's great.
They actually let them grow a lot bigger. I mean, the chicks stick around for at least another year.
Yeah.
To make sure they're as healthy and strong as possible to up those chances of survival. But yeah, they go back out into the wild.
And they play the romantic music during the.
Yeah, that same
meeting
song they
season.
used when Lady and the Tramp were having that date with the spaghetti, that same exact music, Rod, is played for the release of the Condors.
It's working. Here's the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club out in Loa. We are under a clear sky, but we believe it's going to cloud over. I mean, no signs of that from this vantage point. There are clouds now making their way southward from the Kelso-Longview area into northern Clark County. So the cloud march, I think, is happening. 61. So enjoy some brightness early this morning. Hey, if you're going to be out at the zoo or doing anything outdoors this afternoon, instead of being up to about 90, we'll be in the 70s. So super comfortable day coming. Early morning sun over the West Hills as well. 59 degrees, our Oregon Zoo, speaking of, live camera there. We're 62 in downtown, 59 up in Battleground, 58 degrees down in Wilsonville. Winds are primarily being reported as light out the door this morning. Albany, good morning, 57 for you. Futurecast does show the cloud march. Here we are at 8 o'clock, showing we cloud over. Now, if anything, there may be some afternoon sun from near Salem to the south, but once we cloud over, which we're expected to do by 8 o'clock or 9 this morning, Portland stays cloudy this afternoon. There's actually a push of cloudiness with a little week of cooler weather that comes rolling in off the Pacific this afternoon. So this shows temperatures holding in the 70s from Portland down through Albany at 4 p.m. 80s out east, Pendleton 91, but everybody's cooler out east. And notice that thunderstorm threat on the map. Central Oregon will be dry. That thunderstorm threat is south central and mainly up into southeastern Oregon. All right, so today clouding over 75, tomorrow clouds of sun 78, a 2-day cool down, and then we're back up to about 90 with clear skies Friday, and then your weekend is going to see the hot afternoons as well.